Hey guys, welcome back to the show, and on this episode I'm going to be talking about a movie that really stands out amongst its peers. Now, sure, there are a lot of alien invasion movies out there, and I've seen my share. Independence Day, The Thing, War of the Worlds, Coneheads, but Devil Girl from Mars has it all. Aliens, spaceships, ray guns, fugitives, romance, and yet it still manages to be really bad. Now, this movie came out in 1954 in black and white, but I did manage to find a colorized version, so that's what I'll be using for this video. The movie starts with an airplane that suddenly gets blown up. Now, you might be thinking, oh wow, this looks exciting. I bet this thing is action-packed. And if you are, you should know better. See, when I watch a movie for this show, I never really get my hopes up, and that way, I'm never really disappointed. Frustrated? Yeah. Angry? Oh hell yeah. So now we're at a remote Scottish inn called the Bonnie Charlie, where Tommy is listening to the radio talk about how a meteor fell to Earth yesterday. Tommy asks Doris what a meteor is, and Doris is like, how the hell should I know? Do I look like a scientist to you? Yeah, that's it, Tommy. I'm an astronomer who works here for fun. She doesn't actually say that, but the dialogue in this movie is pretty boring, so I decided to give it some bite. His aunt, Mrs. Jameson, who runs the inn with her husband, Jamie Jameson, comes in and is like, hey, you go to bed and you get back to work. Meanwhile, out running around in the middle of the night is Robert. Nothing suspicious about a man running around in the dark in the middle of nowhere. He arrives at the inn and tells Doris that he escaped and changed his name from Robert Justin to Albert Simpson. Mrs. Jameson comes in and Doris makes up a story about how he got lost on a hiking tour and dropped his wallet. So Mrs. Jameson says that he can stay there, but he'll have to work for his room.
I'll find you plenty of jobs to do, don't worry. But I warn you, I'm counting the spoons.
And he's like, perfect. I only steal forks and maybe a steak knife or two if I'm feeling fancy. Or I want to stab somebody. Like my wife.
You killed her.
It was an accident.
Was it an accident you married her instead of me?
Holy crap, this just went from 0 to 100 in a few seconds. I mean, I thought this guy was just your common cutlery thief, but now we're adding adultery and escaping from prison and murder to the equation? I mean, he said he killed his wife, but it was an accident. But, I mean, come on. I think he killed her. Also, this guy escaped from prison? How? I mean, I'm not expecting Shawshank Redemption here, but it looks like this guy just walked out of there with a coat and a scarf. I'm just curious as to how he did it. So now we have two men investigating the meteor crash. A journalist named Michael and Professor Arnold Hennessy, an astrophysicist. They arrive at the inn and go straight to the bar where Mike meets Ellen, a model who is only drinking tomato juice.
Not many girls drink tomato juice unless
Unless what?
they're afraid of putting on weight. Possibly this lady would like another.
Oh, Miss Prestwick only drinks tomato juice.
By the way, do any of you like drinking tomato juice or any of those vegetable concoctions like V8? When I was a kid, my parents used to get V8 all the time, and I know it's chock full of vitamins, but it is just absolutely disgusting. I'm talking about the original V8 in a can. I couldn't drink it. Jamie is so excited to have a professor and a model staying at the inn that he gets extremely generous.
Drinks on the house.
Jamie, what did you say?
Yeah, Jamie, did you forget? We're trying to run a business here. This place where we sell rooms, the bar where we sell drinks so that we can keep the lights on, put food on the table, continue to live to see another day. So they all sit down to dinner and have, I don't know what this is, some kind of crappy soup. Then Albert comes in with the bread. Remember, he works there now. And Mike is like, holy crap, I know who this guy is. Doesn't anybody else recognize him? Well, I'll tell you who he is. And then suddenly they're all distracted by the bright lights and sounds of a UFO flying overhead. And see, there it is again. I talked about this back in the summer. At some point or another, we could all use a good distraction to get us out of an awkward situation. I still think that's a great business idea, selling distractions. Honestly, if I wasn't doing this show, you better believe I'd be raking in the distraction money right now. So the spaceship lands, and the professor is like, well, we can't go near it yet. It's too hot. I mean, just look at it. The thing is glowing. It's piping hot. Mike can't get the phone to work, so he and the professor decide to drive 7 miles to the nearest town, but Ellen isn't too thrilled about it.
God, I know it sounds silly, but I don't like to be left here on my own.
How are you alone, Ellen? There's 3 other people literally standing in the same room. Oh, I get it. Yeah, no, it's clear to me now. Yeah, it's different because those people are just the workers. Not good enough for you, huh, Ellen? Let me tell you something. People who work in hospitality have to deal with enough crap as it is. They don't need you looking down your nose at them just because a UFO landed in the backyard. You know, maybe you could take a page out of the Aliens book and come back down to Earth. Ellen then goes outside into the, I don't know, I guess this is the garage. And this is kind of funny because she hears something break and then she asks if there's anyone there.
Anyone?
Don't scream, please.
Okay, so how is he not in her field of vision? Just look at this. It appears as if he was just kind of standing off to the side a bit. I guess since his incredible hiding spot is now blown, he's got to find a new one. So Doris then finds Albert hiding behind the curtain. And I have to say, that's actually not a bad hiding spot, but it's just not very sustainable. You know, because you have to stand the whole time. And also, at some point, you're going to have to use the bathroom. And you can't go right there. People are going to notice. I don't care how quiet you think you can be. Eventually, people are going to walk into that room and be like, wait, why does it smell like shit in here? Anyways, Doris has an idea and takes him up to the attic where there's a room full of junk. And I mean, what the hell is going on here? It's not like any of this is neatly stored away. This looks like a room where when they want to get rid of something, they just open the door, literally throw it in there, and then just never think about it again. You know how at your place you probably have a junk drawer? They have a junk room.
What is this?
You're staying here.
No, I can't do that.
Yeah, there's just too many spider webs in here. It's gross. If this inn is haunted, this would be where the ghost lives. I guarantee it. So then Doris has an idea for a disguise.
We'll make you look different. Maybe you could grow a mustache.
Yes, grow a mustache. That will change everything. And I'm serious. Growing a mustache can make you look like a completely different person. And if you don't believe me, just look at this. Here's a picture of me clean shaven, and here is a picture of me with a mustache. The funny thing is, even if he grows the mustache, well then what? You know, you go down there in a few weeks like, hey everybody, by the way, there's a guy living in the attic now. Don't know how he got in there or who he is, but it's definitely not Albert. Even though he is wearing Albert's clothes. Anyways, he takes a look out the window because, you know, there's an alien spacecraft outside. Almost forgot about that. The door to the UFO finally opens and this lady comes out looking like a Darth Vader dominatrix. David, a handyman who works at the inn, goes outside to see what all the fuss is about, and the alien lady vaporizes him with her ray gun. The car isn't working for some reason, even though they can't find anything wrong with it, so they go back inside to try the phone again. And that's when they notice that Doris is in some kind of trance. She's not responding to anything, almost like she's in shock. This is when the alien lady decides to introduce herself.
Who are you?
My name is Naya.
Where do you come from?
Mars.
Oh my god, are you serious? Really? Mars? That is unbelievable! The fact that people from Mars actually call it Mars! What are the chances of that? We totally guessed the name of that planet dead on! Bullseye! Wait, what do you call our planet?
You men on Earth are much as we expected.
Holy crap, that's what we call it! I can't believe this is happening right now. Doris, are you listening to this? Doris, hello? You're missing it, Doris. Man, she is really out of it. I'm a little concerned. But let's try one more. What do you call the sun? Oh, no, wait, forget I said that. What do you call the giant flaming ball of gas? And I'm not talking about Arnold. Naya goes on to talk about how smart she is and that she knows every language and that she ended up landing on Earth due to a miscalculation, which I find kind of funny because she's acting so high and mighty and superior to the people of Earth. But then at the same time, she's like, yeah, I only landed here because I screwed up on some calculations. She says that a part of her ship fell off and that was the meteor that everybody saw. But the ship is made of a metal that repairs itself, so she has a few hours to kill. Then she explains that there was a war of the sexes on Mars, that the women won. But now there's not many men left and the birth rate is dropping. So she's going to use a weapon that can freeze people, then take some of the strongest men on Earth that she can find to go back to Mars. Then they find out that she killed David.
Is he alive?
No, he was superfluous. A hopeless specimen.
Oh, I see. So you killed David because he had a limp. Wow. Wow, Naya. That's all I can say. Just wow. You don't know what his condition was. Maybe he had that limp because he pulled a hamstring playing softball. So you're going to go around our planet destroying all of the men who have even just the appearance of a disability. Somebody sprains an ankle and you give them the racehorse with a broken leg treatment? That's nice. Naya says, don't even try to get any help. I've drawn an invisible wall around this whole property, so you can't go anywhere. But the professor is skeptical.
I'm a scientist. I believe what my brain tells me to believe, what I can see with my own eyes.
I mean, sure, she came here from Mars in a spaceship that looks unlike anything we've ever seen before, but the idea that she could draw an invisible force field around this house? Yeah, okay. So the professor goes wandering outside to see if he can find the invisible wall. Now, it would be nice if things started picking up here. I mean, she trapped them in this invisible box. She's threatened to start going around freezing people and taking them back to Mars. She also says that she has this really powerful robot. So this is going to start getting interesting, right? There's going to be some suspense. Well, not really. Mike goes upstairs to see Ellen, and they start drinking and talking about her love life and how Mike developed a taste for alcohol. It's amazing how casual this all is, considering what's going on. Now, to be fair, I've never been in this situation, but if I was, I'd like to think that I'd be with everybody else, trying to figure out what we're going to do. Eventually, they go downstairs, and it looks like the professor is back, and not only did he find the wall, but it looks like he bashed his face into it as well.
It was just like crashing into a brick wall.
Okay, so not to take anything away from his methods, I mean, he is the professor, but it just seems like instead of walking into the invisible object to test if it's actually there, why not use anything else? Seriously, a rock, a piece of wood, just take it and throw it, and then walk up to where it landed, pick it up, and throw it again, and keep doing that until it hits an invisible barrier. I just feel like that would be the smart thing to do. So they're like, all right, that's enough. Let's just shoot her. I mean, we gotta destroy this alien before she destroys us. But nothing works, and finally she shows them her robot. And I have to mention this because the Wikipedia page says that this was a fully automated robot that would sometimes break down and delay filming. I have a really hard time believing that. I mean, come on, this just looks like somebody in a costume. I mean, just look at it. Look at the way it moves when it's walking. This is a person in a box. So the robot shoots some stuff, like a tree and a car, and disintegrates them, but then after, it just goes back into the ship. So I guess this was an intimidation tactic to get everyone to go back into the house. Naya finds Albert and Tommy and says that she's going to take Tommy with her to Mars, and then uses her mind control to make Albert go back into the attic. And here's another thing I don't get. Why doesn't she just use her mind control on everybody all the time? Why not? I mean, these people are annoying her. They're trying to shoot her. They're setting up traps with electricity. Why doesn't she just make everybody sit down and shut up like she did with Doris at the beginning?
Michael, I'm frightened.
Don't worry, dear. I suppose worse things have happened.
Like what? And how does that help? She's like, oh, I'm really scared. You know, this alien has us trapped. She's already killed somebody, and she's threatening that if we don't do what she says, she's going to vaporize us with this robot, and she's going to go around and start taking people up to Mars. And his response is basically, yeah, but it could be worse. Like, oh, okay, thanks, Mike. Thanks for putting it all into perspective. I feel a lot better now.
It amuses me to watch your puny efforts. It would take you 1,000 years to learn a fragment of what we have achieved.
You know what? Why you gotta talk so much shit? You come down here, you don't have to pay for parking, You make people disappear without any consequences. You fly around in your spaceship. You got all these fancy toys that you use to intimidate people. She's basically one of the super rich here on Earth. So anyways, the professor is like, yeah, well, we've got some cool stuff too, you know. And Naya takes him aboard the spaceship to be like, oh yeah? Well, take a look at how cool this is. Naya goes back to the inn because she really loves showing off all of her powers. Everybody is like, holy crap, look, she's applying a Gaussian blur to herself right before our very eyes. Naya agrees to exchange Tommy for Michael, and the professor starts coming up with a plan to destroy the ship. But I don't really think he's thought this through. So there's a power source in the middle of the ship, and the professor seems to think that
perhaps one determined blow delivered might release this power in the form of a terrific explosion.
Okay, so the idea is that Mike will deliver a massive blow to the power source, and that will destroy the ship. I have a few questions. What is Mike supposed to do? Just go up and punch it? What is he supposed to use to break the thing? There's nothing on the ship. It's not like he's just gonna waltz on board like, you know, if I'm gonna spend the rest of my life on Mars, I really need to bring my lucky sledgehammer. Because it's just, you know, it's got a lot of sentimental value to me. I think she'd see right through that. So Naya walks in while they're talking, and for the love of God, if you're gonna hatch a secret plan, why don't you at least try to lock the door? Mike steals her robot remote stick. I guess maybe he was gonna try and use the robot to destroy the power source, but what did he think was going to happen? Naya just uses her mind control on him to get it back. And this is kind of funny because he's clearly standing to the right of her, but when she's using her mind control, she's looking in the complete opposite direction. So now Naya is pissed and she's like, all right, everybody, this guy just tried to trick me, so now you're all going to die. Yep, I'm gonna blow up this whole place once I take off in my ship. They all have to decide who is going to go with her since she apparently needs a guide with her when she goes to London, you know, to show her around, which really doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Albert decides that he'll sacrifice himself, so he goes on the ship, and once it's up in the sky, he blows it up. How did he manage to do it? Who knows? But that's it for this story. Naya was played by Patricia Laffin. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the last name right. But the costume was so hot and uncomfortable, and apparently she couldn't eat or drink anything while she was wearing it. There was also a biography that came out on her last year. Now, this movie was super low budget. I couldn't find an exact number, but I'm not surprised. And apparently, during filming, they never did retakes unless the film was actually damaged. Unfortunately, there's not that much info I could find about this movie. I don't know how well it did when it originally came out, but it did develop a cult following once it came out on video. But that's pretty much it for this one. As usual, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time. I just can't believe this is happening right now. I mean, okay, wait, is this for real? Is she really an alien? Or, Arnold, is this a surprise for my birthday? I can't believe you, man. How did you know I was a sub? So they all sit down to dinner, and I don't know what this is, some kind of a crappy soup. I don't care for soups, honestly. Never have, never will. I will never, ever, ever order soup at a restaurant. I don't care where it is or what it is. I don't care if it's Mendy's. Cereal is a completely different beast, though. I know it's kind of the same principle, you know, you're eating and drinking at the same time, but cereal is just so unbelievably delicious. Probably because it's loaded with sugar, but man, I haven't had cereal in a while, but I love all of it. You know, Honey Bunches of Oats, Fruit Loops, Cap'n Crunch. Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. You got it. Like, all aboard, Cap'n. Maybe he had that limp because he pulled a hamstring playing softball. Now, I know that sounds specific because that's what happened to me in the summer.